from the East Coast in the US. Welcome to this webinar. We're going to be talking about our Master in Global Business and Society. My name is Jimeno De Paz. I'm the Assistant Dean of Global Network Programs at Yale School of Management, and part of my portfolio is overseeing admissions for 2-degree programs, the Master of Advanced Management and the program that we're presenting today, which is the Master in Global Business and Society. I am not alone here. I have two of my colleagues, Elena Heath. She is in the back end, organizing the webinar and making sure everything runs smoothly. And Elena, can I ask you to please put our brochure on the chat for people to access it? You can have all the information on our website. Of course, we're going to give you a lot of information today in this session, but we also have a brochure that you can download and carefully look at with more information as well. The way we're going to be running the session, we are going to go through the slides, and then we're going to be taking questions at the end. So feel free to put your questions in the Q&A section. Again, I am not here alone. Well, I have Elena, but I also have one of my colleagues who is Matt Lassans, and he's going to introduce himself right now and also kick us off with the session. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Camino. Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Lassance. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here with the Global Programs. So just to kind of get us started, the MMS in Global Business and Society program, also known as the GBS, is a one-year program designed for MIM graduates of partner schools within the Global Network for Advanced Management, as well as graduates of MIM programs from around the world. So today we'll discuss, how the GBS will complement your MIM studies and some of the resources we have to offer here at Yale. We'll take a glimpse into the class profile, and we're going to talk a little bit about, what your schedule might look like, what some of the opportunities are, what happens around campus, as well as talk a little bit about, scholarships and all of that fun stuff that I know you're all very curious about. So just to kind of give you a little bit of a glimpse of what our class looked like this past year. So our class was made up of 70 students. Those 70 students came from 19 different countries. The average age for our students is about 24, with 59% of those students being women. And so these students represented 8 different MIM schools. 100% of the students spoke 2 or more languages. 59% obtained or are working towards a master's degree in a country other than their home country. And they averaged about 15 months of work experience. So this is a really great example. We have a very diverse student population. We've got some that have had a great deal of work experience to kind of get their career started. They're very global citizens. So if you feel like you fit into this, or you're someone that is a very global citizen and global student, this might be a great opportunity for you. Now, these students aren't alone when they come to Yale and are in the classroom. We typically have students in a couple different programs. So what I want to highlight is sort of our 5 different segments of programs. You're going to see first we have our full-time MBA program, which includes our Silver Scholars, and they usually enroll about 350 students each year. Our MBA for Executives program, and they usually have about 65 to 70 students each year. Then you have our Master of Advanced Management program, which enrolls about 65 students. And then our MMS degrees, which you'll see are Global Business and Society, Asset Management, Systemic Risk, and then, of course, our PhD programs. And one of the really neat facets of Yale SOM and all these graduate programs is that you're not just going to be in the classroom with just GBS students or just MBA students. You're going to have a pairing of a little bit of all of these students, except for the MBA for Executives. They typically come in, on the weekends, once or twice a month. But otherwise, you're going to be in the classroom with all of these different students that are coming in with more experience, less experience, different sets of knowledge, different interests. And it really adds to the classroom discussion and really allows students to gain a well-rounded perspective on everything business. Now, all of these programs are inspired by the founding mission of the school. At Yale SOM, our mission matters. It's not the only thing that we have here, but it's one of the biggest things that motivates our students, faculty, and staff, and really provides both long-term strategic guidance about what the school is and should be, and informs decisions and actions on a daily basis. As you can see, our mission is to educate leaders for business and society. And this means our aim is to develop leaders who have the ability to think broadly about the problems business leaders are facing today and will face tomorrow. And these people bring a deep sense of purpose with their work. We really want students, faculty, staff, people that are going to really be pushing to innovate and face the challenges and problems of today, tomorrow, and in the future, and really want to help make a positive change in the world. And this is something that we find across the board from the top down, and it's something that really has benefited our students. And I think it's something that if you ask any student, faculty, or staff, they'll say it's one of the main reasons that they really loved the Yale environment and wanted to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Now, what are the opportunities here at Yale? So with the GBS program, I think there's two different opportunities. And one of them is to go extraordinarily deep into something you may be interested in. So maybe you've gotten this business knowledge and you really want to dive a little bit further into, say, sustainability. It's a great opportunity to look into courses that are maybe tied to business and sustainability, business and the environment, and really dive into that and focus on that. On the flip side, maybe you've gotten some good business knowledge, but you want to shore up those skills across a couple different areas. So maybe you want to get a little bit more of sustainability, but you want to learn more about global politics and, global affairs. You want to shore up your soft skills, maybe work on your presentation skills. You have the opportunity to have a lot of breadth in your curriculum. And so you can take classes really in a number of different schools at Yale, and we'll dive into that in a minute. Some of the other benefits, you have 2 networks and 2 brands. So not only would you have your MIM schools network and brand behind you, you also now have Yale SOM and the Yale brand and network also behind you. As I mentioned, we have a very global cohort, and a lot of our students go on to lead global careers, which we'll talk a little bit more about where some of those careers take them and what some of their jobs are. And then again, a community of purpose. I think going back to our mission is everything to us. It's something that really leads us and pushes all of us to do our best, because we're not just thinking about what we can do for ourselves and how we can better ourselves, but it's how can we better the community and really the world moving forward. So as I mentioned, talking about the GBS curriculum, and as we're going to talk about a little bit here, you're going to see in this pie chart sort of what a schedule might look like. So you have one main required course that every student in the GBS program will take, and that's Business and Government After Communism. You'll see that there in the white part of our pie chart. Then you have to take 16 units of advanced management courses. So there's 18 advanced management courses that you can choose from, as you see there: business ethics, consumer behavior, digital strategy, and a number of other ones. And those courses are going to be there in yellow. So 16 units, most of those courses are either 2 or 4 units of credit. So you would take anywhere between, 4 and 8 of those potentially. And then you're going to see in blue, you have 18 units of elective courses. Now, one of the great things about those elective courses, you've got over 170 elective courses at the School of Management, but then you also have the opportunity to learn from other leading professors at Yale's other 12 professional schools and the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. So if we're figuring about 170 courses at Yale SOM, and we, take into account there's 12 other schools and the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, there's potentially about 1,000 other elective courses that you could select from. There are some restrictions, whether it be, prereqs, or you may need to get approval, but you have really all of Yale at your disposal to kind of utilize for your curriculum. Now, one of the other opportunities that you can look into is the management science major. And I do want to point out that this is sort of the first step in a couple different pieces for a potential additional OPT or optional practical training. So what you would do in this case is complete a minimum of 16 credit units of eligible courses, focusing on applying quantitative methods to challenges in business and management. Now, those courses can come from 26 elective options. Some of those, as you can see, are sports analytics, applied quantitative finance, game theory, and a number of other ones. Now, this is a great opportunity if you're really interested in sort of that science or STEM area. Now, just to keep in mind, you do have to declare this concentration during the application process. That's when you have to declare it, is on the application. You'll see a section for that. If you are accepted into this, this is sort of the first step in a couple of different steps that are required. And you could potentially add an additional 2-year STEM extension to your OPT. So you potentially have the opportunity for 3 years of work permission in the US after graduation. I do want to reiterate, it's not guaranteed. It's something that takes a couple steps to go through, but this is sort of the first step in that process. And just to give you an idea of what this kind of looks like with your curriculum. So on the chart here, you're going to see in white, you still have your 2 units of required courses. It's the business and government after communism. In yellow, you still have your advanced management courses. Now, where this can get a little bit trickier, you do have to think about this. You do have 16 units of management science courses, and those go towards your elective courses. So instead of having, the 18 units of elective courses, you have 2 units of elective courses that can be across Yale. Now the 16 units there are management science major courses. So just keep that in mind as you're looking into it, but it's definitely a great opportunity to think about if you're interested in that STEM field. And to take a look just to see what some of our GBS students have done or what their schedules have kind of looked like in the past, I want to talk about Jingyi Zhang and Celine Theo. And so they took a couple different directions. So as you can see, Jingyi took management courses, but then decided to dive a little bit into finance, took a course in healthcare strategy, real estate, international real estate, and real estate finance, and then did a GNAM service management course as well. And they took a little bit of that broader pathway. On the other side, you're going to see with Celine also took the management courses, but then decided to dive a little bit more into entrepreneurship, sustainability, and sort of some of those global courses, learning a little bit about US and China relations, and then a little bit on brand strategy and communication in Africa. Now, both of these students, again, were GBS students, so they both ended up with the GBS degree, but they took 2 completely different pathways or schedules, if you will. So you can see there are only a few courses that really cross over there, but they both had the opportunity to get the GBS degree and really focus on topics that they wanted to focus on. All right, and I'm going to pass it back over to Camino to talk a little bit more about some of the opportunities at Yale.
Thank you, Matt. I get to talk about the fun part of the presentation. So Matt was talking mostly about what happens inside the classroom. I am going to be talking a little bit about what happens outside of the classroom, which is equally important. So again, the GBS program is a 1-year in-person program, and there's no online or remote option for this program because, again, the experience that you have for the year interacting with your GBS colleagues, but also with students across the school of management and across Yale, it's really, really what makes the program as unique as it is. So here we have a few pictures of events that happen when you are not in the classroom. So the first picture is an iconic picture for us, is the ice hockey club. We have more than 50 clubs at Yale SOM, but ice hockey is really big in the East Coast. I am originally from Spain. I've never had ice hockey before. I've seen it, and here is a big thing. You don't need to be an expert to join the club. You don't even need to know how to skate, but it's a great experience. It's fun and it's pretty unique. Again, this is one of more than 50. So if this is not your thing, you definitely will find a club that suits you. We have a fair during orientation where all the clubs are presented to you. that you can talk to the club leaders and decide whether to join or not. And if you don't find a club that you're interested in and you want to kind of kick it off yourself, that's also something that you can do. The other, moving on to the second picture, the other big event that we have is the Yale-Harvard game. So for the American football. So every year the game takes place in one of the two schools. 1 year is here, and then the next year is at Harvard. And this is the rivalry between these two schools is quite a thing here. So this game is the big event of the year. So no matter which school hosts it, a lot of students go to the game, even if they have to go to Boston for the game. So prior to the game, there's what we call tailgating. So people get together and get ready for the game, start bonding. And it's a huge event that, again, every year most of our students attend, and it's quite a unique experience. Also, we have a lot of student-driven conferences on campus. Our students are very active. The clubs that we were talking about, they're not all sports or kind of fan clubs. We also have professional clubs, and they again have big conferences going on. So the one on the picture is about AI in global entrepreneurship, but we also have like huge conferences in healthcare. We have a lot of conferences on finance and impact finance. So again, I'm sure you will find a conference that it's unique to you, not only at SOM, but also in broader Yale. And if not, you can definitely participate in creating something that is an event that is of interest to you. Moving down to the second row of pictures, we have Friendsgiving on the first picture. For those of you that are not from the US, you might know that Thanksgiving is a huge holiday here. So leading up to Thanksgiving, on a Wednesday, we have a Friendsgiving dinner here at Yale SOM. So we, as you see, set up tables all around our hallways, and we bring in all our students, their families, and our chef cooks a delicious dinner with turkey, pies, everything that is typical for Thanksgiving. And we basically sit around the table and thank each other for our friend experience and how unique it is to be here enjoying this year together. The next picture is about field day. So when you come, you are placed in a cohort. Obviously, for you will be the GBS cohort. But as Matt was saying, part of the curriculum, most of the curriculum is elective. So you will not be having every single class with your cohort. So we are very careful in building activities for you to actually get to know each other and bond in a way that it will happen organically, but it will also help you kind of stay connected through the year, despite the different course loads that each of you will have. And then the last picture is Handsome Dan, who is our mascot. So Handsome Dan visits us a few times a year. I don't know exactly what event this is, but every time Handsome Dan shows up at SOM, he's definitely the star. He even has an Instagram account, so you can follow his moves on Instagram. And again, it's a big part of our community, our mascot. Given our strategic location in between New York and Boston, we have a lot of renowned speakers on campus. We're very, very lucky that almost every week there's somebody coming to campus. So this is also something that you can benefit from. Last year we had Stella McCartney, who's a renowned fashion designer, and she was talking about sustainable fashion. And here in the picture, you can see her with one of our most prominent alumni at SOM, who's Indra Nooyi, who's the former CEO of PepsiCo. And we also have Janet Yellen, the Secretary of Treasury and former chairman of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. And here interviewed by one of our most prominent professors, Andrew Metrick. And then my favorite picture is the last one. we had the opportunity to have the President of the Republic of Ghana giving a talk at SOM a few years ago. And we so happened to have one student in our MAM program who was from Ghana. And so she had the opportunity to officially welcome the president of her country to SOM and present him with a gift. And so that was pretty unique. And those are the things that happen at Yale that make this place so special. Moving on to our campus, our beautiful campus. Something that I like to say is that if you come to SOM, you should not just confine yourself to Evans Hall, which is our building. It's a beautiful building. It has state-of-the-art facilities, but if you come to Yale, you really have to experience the whole campus. And here you have a few pictures of our iconic places, our libraries. We have the dining commons, which is a place where you definitely would have to go and have lunch at. It's like a Harry Potter dining hall. And you should definitely walk around, find your spots, because everybody is different, but you will find a favorite spot for you to kind of decompress, reflect on your journey, study. And this is something that you definitely will experience if you come to Yale SOM. Now the big question, where do GBS students end up? Again, Matt was talking about the global careers and the global kind of mindset of our students. And this is true also when they finish the program. They end up all over the world. And that is part of the experience of coming to SOM. They, for the most part, I would say, particularly in this program, we got a lot of students that end up in consulting or investment banking, but we also have students ending up in other industries and other fields. But these are some of the most renowned companies that recruit our GBS students. I would like to talk a little bit about how you can access this program, because there are two pathways to come to the GBS. And I don't know who is connected to this webinar, but it's possible that we have people considering both pathways. So I want really to explain the difference. So the program is just one, is the Yale GBS program. The way to get to this program can be twofold. On the one hand side, if you have not started a master in management, if you're still in your undergrad program, or if you have recently graduated and are exploring, opportunities, there is a possibility for you to apply to a master's in management program and the Yale EBS program at the same time, concurrently. So you would have two applications for two different programs that are consecutive, and you can do it before starting any of them. That is the M2M application. M2M stands for Master to Master. M2M is not a program itself. It's just an admission pathway to get to the GBS. The program, the degree is the GBS. And then we have the regular GBS application. If you are already doing a master's in management in any prominent global school in the world, and you decide to continue your studies, you can then apply for the GBS. But once you are already enrolling in master management program. So the M2M, let me explain a little bit further. Again, the M2M is just a pathway, it's not a degree, master to master. You get 2 masters, 2 countries, and 2 global business schools. So year 1, you would do a master in management in 3 schools that we have partnerships with that I'm gonna be presenting right now. And then year 2, you come to our Master in Global Business and Society. The 3 schools are HEC in France, HKUST in Hong Kong, and UBC Southern in Canada. These are the 3 schools we have partnerships with. So if you are interested in this route, I encourage you that you reach out to us, or you reach out to any of these schools or all 3 of them, and then kind of find out what is the pathway to get to their MIM, and then plus our GBS program. And these are, again, the M2M pathway to get to the GBS. the application process, and this goes for both. It doesn't matter what pathway you choose. The same process applies to both. The only thing is that for the M2M, besides our process, you have to follow another process with the year one school. But you have to basically, for some of them, I have to say, you submit the application through them and they send all the materials to us. For other schools, you have to submit 2 different applications. So you will have to kind of navigate that depending on what year one school you are deciding to apply to. And then if you are currently enrolled in a Master in Management program, you just follow this process directly with us, because you have already gone through an admission process elsewhere and you've been admitted and you're already a student there. So the application is online. There's no part of this process that takes you to New Haven. You can do everything online. You can find our application on our website, and you just click there and just follow the instructions. Take your time. Don't submit the application at the very last minute. I will be presenting the deadlines here, but I totally encourage you to start looking at the application the minute it opens, and start preparing everything and thinking carefully about every part of the application. We have 3 essay questions. And again, here we're just trying to get to know you better. Assess your fit to the school. Matt was talking about our mission. Our mission is really important to us. So we're gonna be assessing also the fit with the mission, with the program. We want to understand why you want to do the GBS. This is a second graduate degree. So it's not for everybody, and that's okay. But if you are considering the program, we need to know why you want to do this program. We're gonna be asking you for your resume, your transcripts from every degree granting institution that you attended to. So if you had your undergrad, your mean grades, even if they're not complete, if you're currently enrolled in the program, we're gonna get whatever grades you have received. And then for those of you that have transfer, we're gonna need transcripts from all institutions you attended. So sometimes people start undergrad in a school and then transfer to a different school. We're gonna need get grades from all those schools. Also, if you've done an exchange program at a different school, if you received grades, every grade that you've received in your academic life, we're gonna be needing. Also, we're gonna be requesting the GMAT or the GRE test score. I know this is going to come up in the question, so I just get ahead of it. We are not waiving this requirement. It's mandatory and everybody has to submit a score. Also, the question we always get is there a minimum? Is there an average? The answer is no. We follow a holistic process assessing each candidate. So we don't have a minimum and we don't have an average score for any of these tests. Obviously, if you have a lower GPA, the stronger the test is, the better, because it kind of compensates a little bit. And then on the opposite side, if you have a very strong GPA, then a lower GMAT or GRE might be okay, because you have proven your excellence with your grades. So again, we don't give minimums, we don't give average. We do request test, do your best, submit your score, and then we will take care of assessing everything else. We are gonna ask you for a letter of recommendation from a professional source. We know that maybe students don't have much experience, but hopefully you have internships. We are looking for people that can speak to your work skills, that have seen you in a professional setting. And it's really, really, really important, I cannot stress this enough, that the letter comes directly from the recommender. And it has to come from a professional email address. We don't accept letters that come from Gmail, Yahoo, or any of the other email addresses. And again, very important that it comes directly from the recommender. You might have letter recommendations from other programs that you attended. Please do not submit it yourself. It has to come directly from the recommender. And then we need a letter of support from your dean or director in case you are already enrolled in a MEAN program. If you're not, obviously you don't have this. But if you are enrolling in a MEAN program, we want a letter of support from dean and director. And this letter doesn't need to speak to your academic abilities. That we're gonna be seeing through your transcripts. Basically, what we need here is that the school supports you, that they say you're a good citizen, and they think that you will be a great ambassador of their school in our program. That's basically what we're looking for. Then you have to pay a $95 application fee, and then that will prompt you to the video questions. And I'm gonna spend a little bit of time explaining the video questions because I know they create a lot of anxiety in our candidates. And honestly, they shouldn't. The video questions is the first time that we're gonna be putting a face to a name and that we're gonna be hearing you speak. All the rest we've done is reading stuff about you, but we haven't actually seen you. And this is the first time we're gonna see you. There are 3 video questions. We have many questions, so they kind of randomly are assigned to each candidate. So don't talk to other people because you might most likely get different questions from your friends. And then just be yourself. We're not looking for a right or wrong answer. We just want to get to know you and see how you basically think on your feet. So again, the video questions, you get prompted to them. They come up, one of us come up on the screen, poses a question, then you have a little bit of like a time, not much, but a minute or minute and a half to think about your answer. And then the video comes up and you have to record your answer. Again, no right or wrong answers. We're just looking for how you think on your feet. Here's also a place where we're going to be assessing your English level. We're not going to be asking for a TOEFL or an IELTS for those of you that are non-native speakers, but here's where we're going to be assessing also your level of English. And then once you have submitted all this, we do our work, we read and read and read, and then we decide which candidates we are going to be invited for an interview. Not everybody gets invited to an interview, but if you pass the first read that we do, then we invite you for an interview. That again happens over Zoom and it's all virtual. No need to come here. In terms of deadlines, our application opens September 24th. So in a little bit over 2 months, we're gonna be opening our application. I strongly, again, encourage everyone to start looking at the application as early as September so that you know exactly what you have to submit, what you have to prepare, and you are then not rushing into it because we want for you to submit your strongest application. We want you to be a strong applicant, and the more time that you spend on the application, the stronger the application will be. So we have 3 rounds. The first one is in January 8th, early January. This one is reserved only for GNAM students. GNAM is the Global Network for Advanced Management. It's a network of 32 schools around the world, and candidates from these schools apply in any of the rounds, 1, 2, or 3, but the first round is reserved only for them. Round 2 and round 3 are for any candidate coming from any school with a MINT program. There is no preference given to GNAM candidates in rounds 2 and round 3. That's also a question that we get all the time. We want the best candidates regardless of where they come from. So again, no preference given there. And then these rounds are also only for the GBS standalone application process. If you are deciding to apply via the end-to-end pathway, then you have to go to each of those schools, HSA, HKUST, and UBC Southern, and check the deadlines there because they are different per school. And the process, again, with us will be very similar to this, but these dates that I'm presenting here are not applicable to the end-to-end. Those dates are different, and you will find them in year 1 school. So the difficult part for me in this presentation is to talk about affording your GBS. Education in the US is very, very expensive. And we really would like to have the best students apply. So I encourage you not to get like deflated by these amounts on the slide, because we try to work with you to make the GBS possible. So we have different options to fund your GBS. The first one is international student loans. We partner with international loan providers that will help you with loans. I also encourage each of you start ahead of time planning on how you're going to be financing your GBS. Look for local loan providers. Usually, if you look for providers at your home country, you most likely get better interest rates. So start looking for options also in your home countries. And then we have scholarships. For this program, we have merit-based scholarships. So all admitted candidates are automatically considered. There's no additional documentation required for be assessed for merit scholarship. So when you get accepted into our program, you will also find out what award you've been granted. And you're gonna ask me, okay, how much can I get? Well, that is a very difficult question to answer because it very much depends, but usually we go from $10,000 all the way to $45,000. Those are usually the bigger scholarships that we do. We hardly ever give full rides in this program, but because we want to have our budget basically helping as many students as possible. But if we see an amazing candidate, and that could potentially happen, but the norm is that you get some merit, but it won't cover full tuition. I know that's probably a question that is going to come up. We also have on-campus student employment opportunities. You can work, I believe it's 10 hours a week on campus. You can be TA, teaching assistant for a professor. You can be a research assistant for a professor. You can do some on-campus work, and that will also help you mostly with your living expenses. So this is all we have. If you want to learn more about the GBS, please scan this QR code, and it will take you to our website, and you will have more information there. And also, please take good note of our email address, gbs@yale.edu. That is our inbox for this program. All of us are behind this inbox, and we're very quick in responding. So any additional questions that you have, please go to our email address, go to our website, brochure, and hopefully you'll find your answers. And if not, we're very happy to take your questions here. Also, if you happen to be in the US and want to pay us a visit, please let us know ahead of time. We would love to welcome you on campus, show you around, introduce you to some of our students, maybe have lunch with one, or take a seat in a classroom. So again, if you happen to be around, let us know, and we would love to show you our beautiful campus and also introduce you to our great program. So now we're going to be taking questions, Ma. Please put them on the Q&A section of the Zoom. And I also see here some questions already. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, we're back. And let me take questions here. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so we have a question here. If I start my master's in September, when should I apply to the GBS program? So if you start your master's degree in September, if it's a one-year program, you can apply right away to the main program. We will be assessing your profile while you are already doing the main program, but you do need to graduate by June, July of that year in order to be able to join us in August. We also have some concurrent degrees with some schools, so it very much depends on where you're gonna be doing the main program. I strongly recommend that you reach out to us, and we will work on your specific case, understanding what program you're doing, and then where you're doing it, and then when you would be able to apply to us. So again, if it's a one-year program, most likely you can apply during this upcoming year. If it's a two-year main program and we don't have a concurrent degree with the institution, then you will have to apply the following year. Okay, so Matt, we have a question here about the major science, the STEM major. Is there an additional cost for this concentration? from a major?
There's no additional cost for that major. So all of it is built in. So what you saw for the tuition price, that covers everything. That's tuition, fees, all of that. The only piece that might be a little bit flexible, and again, this can go up and down, really is your personal expenses. So depending on where you might live, if you decide to walk or take, potentially trains, depending on if you're taking trips, if you're eating out versus eating in, all of those sorts of things can kind of flex that number. Otherwise, that number of, I believe it was 85, 400, that covers everything. So one of the other questions I did see, or I know we talked about, was sort of what's the best round to apply in? And I think this is one that oftentimes it's sort of a twofold answer. I think, if you're at a GNAM member school, I think round one is always great because you can get ahead of going through your, visa situation. You can look into housing early. You can do all of those sorts of things. That being said, if your application isn't ready and it's not at its best, it's okay to apply in round two. It's okay to apply in round three. What we really want to see is your best application. And if you don't feel confident in that application in round one, don't apply in round one. There are those slight advantages of being able to get started on some of those processes, but that's assuming you get in. So make sure you're putting your best application forward, whether it's rounds 1, 2, or 3. I think many people who may be on this presentation right now, take a little bit of time to think about your application now. It opens in September, and take a look at the application, go through it, get started if you're interested, and then come to another webinar. We're going to be having some Q&As. We may have some opportunities to interact with students or reach out to some of our admissions ambassadors once they're up and talk to some of those people and see how your application stacks up. If you feel confident and comfortable and you're a GNAM school student, apply in round one. If you're feeling like it could use a little bit more, you want to talk to a few more students or double check on a webinar, definitely take that time, apply in round two. It's not going to be a disadvantage to make your application better.
Thank you, Matt. We have a question here about what qualities and skills does the Yale GBS program look for in undergraduate applicants? In undergraduate or graduate applicants, we're looking for the same skills. So the first one is we want to understand why you want to do the GBS, right? So this again is a second graduate degree. You have to have a MIM. So even if you're an undergraduate student thinking to pursue the MIM plus the GBS, we really, really need to understand what is that attracts you for the GBS program. The second thing is the fit with the school and our mission, super important. And then we really want to also assess that we are the best school for you. So this goes both ways. You're trying to impress us, but we're also trying to impress you. So we're also looking for candidates that we think are going to make an impact in the world, that we're going to be proud of them being our ambassadors, and that we think that we can definitely provide them with the best education, the best skills for whatever it is that they want to do in the future. So this is a little bit what we're looking for in a candidate. Is the GBS program open to students with a specific major, like an accounting major or any other majors? I assume that this is talking about undergraduate. Do we look at specific majors from undergrad, or we take students from any major?
So the undergraduate major can really be anything. I think obviously having some of that business background or having some of those business classes can certainly help. But because you are going to be getting a master's in management degree and then coming to the GBS, that can certainly help. But we've had students in all sorts of majors, whether that be something in science, technology, business. I believe we've had some in sort of fashion and drama and some of those areas. So we really have a diverse student body when it comes to undergraduate majors. Then, of course, the MIM kind of continues on. And I think that's one of the benefits is we have students that they're interested in a certain field, and they're all coming to gain that business knowledge to some extent, but they're really adding on to what they're passionate about. So you may see that passion, whether it be drama, fashion, environment, business, and they're kind of taking those steps to be able to hopefully continue that passion in the world afterwards and make a difference with the GBS degree as well as their MIM degree.
Thank you, Matt. We have a question here on where can I find the student ambassadors?
So super easy method if you're looking is Yale GBS student ambassadors, but let me drop the link here. Give me 1 minute and I'll add that link to access them.
Thank you, Matt. We have a question here, I'll take this one, of an undergraduate student from University of Illinois Urbana campaign. And this student is asking about information about how many students we taking each of the rounds. And because this student feels that she is not eligible for round one. So the rounds that I put there, 1, 2, and 3, were only for GBS standalone. So students are already in a MIM program. If you are still an undergraduate student and are planning to apply to the MIM and the GBS concurrently, you have to go to the deadlines in the different schools that we work with, which are HCC, UBC Southern, and HQST. Choose which school. You can apply to all 3, but if you just want one, what are the deadlines? Because those might be different. And again, it has nothing to do with the rounds that I presented earlier that are for students that are already enrolled in a MIM program. Also, answering your question, how many students we take per round, there's no a fixed amount. What I can tell you is that we take students in every round. We leave students we leave spots for every round, as well as scholarship money for every round. So you should not rush to submit an application early because you think you have more chances to get in. We are going to take the best and the brightest, regardless of the round where you apply. Okay, so, another question, Matt, are there any prerequisite courses required for students to better integrate into the GBS program?
So there are no real prereq courses to integrate in. I think if you're looking to, if you get in, we feel that you can succeed in the program. I do think if you're looking to shore up some skills, it never hurts if you're looking to, maybe further your English, since we do have a very international student body, or if you're looking to add a little bit more, quant skills or something there, it never hurts to take those extra classes or, take an extra course on that, but there is no prerequisite course to kind of integrate into the student body.
Thank you. We have a question here about how is the GBS program from a 1-year degree master, or like the MIM? And I guess the answer here is because you can customize your curriculum. So basically you can decide what classes you want to take. You can go deeper in an area of management, or you can go broader and take classes in the School of Environment, the School of Global Affairs, or any other professional school that we have here. So it's a way to complement your general management education from the MIM. The Master in Management is general management education. So you're going to be seeing all the functional areas of a company. And here you can either go deeper in that area that you're most interested in, or you can complement your management education with other areas that are not specific to management, but definitely will affect your future career. So I guess that would be my answer to that question. Okay. I think we have answered all the questions that have been posed. So if you have any final questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. If not, no worries. If any questions come up later, please write to us, to our email, gbs@yale.edu. We want to thank you very much for your time today. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Elena. And okay, could you please share the email again to reach out? Can you type it on the chat, Matt? They're asking for the email again. Okay, there you go. Thank you. So that's our email, gbs@yale.edu. Anything, please reach out to us. We'll be very happy to answer all your questions. We really hope to see your application coming through in this coming cycle, or if not, in future cycles. The experience at SOM is pretty unique, and we would love to welcome you on campus. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everybody, for connecting today. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.